So we're only a day or so away from the launch of Expedition 33. It's been a long wait and I cannot wait to get stuck into the game once it arrives. But for today's video, as I do for every game we cover on this channel, I'm going to be running you guys through every single thing you need to know when it comes to the game in my ultimate preview for Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now, starting off with the setting for this game, as this is obviously a huge part of any game, but for this game it feels like it is even bigger. This is set in a surreal, dreamlike world inspired by 19th century French art. So a very particular, very niche setting, and it is a very mysterious land where a mysterious entity known as the Paintress actually shapes the world. Each year she awakens and she will paint a new number, which is where the number 33 comes in, and that number that she paints will actually erase everyone of that age from existence, pretty much Thanos dusting them just by writing a number. So there is obviously very high stakes set at the very beginning of this game due to the fact that essentially everyone of the same age is bound to die. Now, this has then led to regular expeditions from the citizens of this world where they set out to try and end her reign and put a stop to the constant death and devastation. And that is where we as the player come into the story, taking control of this expedition through the main cast of characters, the likes of Gustave, Mael, Lune, Ciel, Verso, and many more characters too. Now, this leads us on perfectly to one of the biggest selling points of this game, that being the absolutely stacked cast that is involved in this game. Now, Gustave, who is essentially the main character of the game, I'm sure a lot of you guys know this by now, but for those who don't, he's actually played by Charlie Cox, the actor behind Matt Murdock or Daredevil in the Daredevil show, as well as plenty of other big roles in shows such as Boardwalk Empire. So he is playing the main character in this game, which is pretty mental to have an actor that big playing the main character, especially when, as of right now, with the Daredevil show being rebooted, he is obviously sort of all over the news at the moment anyway. Another huge actor taking part in this game is Andy Serkis, who is actually my favorite actor overall, and I'm sure you guys have seen Andy Serkis in plenty of different stuff. He's played some of the most iconic CGI roles of all time, characters such as Gollum in Lord of the Rings as well as the Hobbit movies. He played Caesar in Planet of the Apes. He's also got multiple roles in Star Wars, multiple roles in Marvel, and he is, in my opinion, one of the better actors out there, so it is insane to have him involved in this game. Outside of those more mainline celebrities, there's also some absolutely insane talent when it comes to the more video game voice artist field. The likes of Ben Starr, who's most notably known for his recent role in Final Fantasy XVI, as well as plenty more. There is Jennifer English, Kirsty Ryder, both of which had pretty big roles in Baldur's Gate 3, a Game of the Year winner. And those are just some of the biggest names involved in this game. There's actually plenty more pretty notable actors as well who are going to be playing roles within this game. And it's fair to say, like I said, this is probably one of, if not the most stacked cast that we've seen in a very long time in a video game. Now, when it comes to the actual gameplay of this game, more talking about the combat side of things, for those who don't know, this is a turn-based game, so this isn't just a typical RPG, sort of a third-person action-adventure type of game. It is going to be turn-based, which is a little bit different than the normal type of game that I play personally, but it looks phenomenal, and I cannot wait to get stuck into it. Now, there are some elements to this turn-based structure that do differentiate it quite a bit from a lot of the turn-based games that I've played, or even just the ones that I've seen. There are a lot of real-time interactions, so you can do certain moves and stuff when it's not even your turn. For example, you can actually dodge incoming enemy attacks. There are QTEs or quick time events that will allow you to pretty much do your attack, but then if you land those QTEs, you can increase the damage or make the attack more effective. And there's just a lot of elements to this gameplay that seems as though they're kind of making it a lot more interactive and a lot more engaging, where it isn't just as simple as you make a couple of moves and the enemy makes their moves and it's just kind of a game of chess. There is some genuine real-time interactions, which hopefully will make it even more enjoyable than it already looks. We also know that there are character roles, so each of these characters will kind of have a different RPG type of role, from DPS characters to mages to support characters, even some tanks and stuff like that. And there's also character synergies, which will essentially allow you to do even more powerful attacks depending on multiple different characters that you have in your squad at any given time. And so overall, it seems as though the combat is going to be very deep and very entertaining. And even though, like I said, I'm not that much of a turn-based guy myself, I am absolutely itching to play this combat because it just looks absolutely awesome from all of the gameplay that we've seen so far. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are interested in more Expedition 33 content after launch, obviously we're only a few days away now, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is plenty more content on the way, plenty of guides and stuff like that, as well as going through all of the awesome items you can find throughout the world, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, touching quickly on the length of the game as well as the exploration side of things too, the devs have confirmed the game is a roughly 30+ hour experience. Now, they've been sort of vague about that. I don't know if that is to do with the main storyline or if that is to kind of 100% the game, or at least do most of the stuff in the game. But overall, I'm actually very happy with that number. I'm kind of a little bit burned out at the moment from the longer games that I've played this year. I played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 straight into Avowed, which, to be fair, Avowed was a little bit shorter, but then also Assassin's Creed Shadows, and all of those games have been pretty damn big. So I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of excited to play a game that is closer to that 30-hour mark, that I don't feel like I have to kind of sell my soul to try and finish it. So for me personally, I'm actually pretty happy with something that will be around that 30-hour mark, potentially even a bit quicker than that if you just mostly focus on the main story. Now, there is plenty of stuff to focus on though that isn't just the main story. They've mentioned it is a non-linear world, and there is a lot of vertical exploration, which is going to be exciting to see. In terms of the actual main storyline, I'd have to imagine that is fairly linear, but like I said, they've mentioned there are open world elements to this game as well. And it seems they are going to be really rewarding exploration because they've confirmed there are plenty of hidden boss fights, hidden items, and they've even said there are entire secret levels as well. So I am definitely keen to try and unearth some of those and see just how in depth they've gone with all of the hidden content. Now, in terms of some of the more basic stuff, in terms of the platforms the game is launching on, it is going to be launching on PC, PS5, as well as the Xbox Series X and S. And something exciting to note for those of you who have Game Pass, it's launching day one on Game Pass as well, which is always exciting to see. I know we pay for Game Pass, but it always does feel like you're getting a game for free, especially when it launches day one. So that is definitely a very good option if you guys are not 100% sold on the game and you're not sure if it's going to be that good. Well, it might be worth just playing it on Game Pass to save yourself some money if you're not 100% sold on it. If you are going to be buying the game though, there are 4 different editions you can buy. Those being the standard edition, which is $49.99 USD. So it's very, very cheap compared to a regular game, which is generally $70 US. There is then the digital deluxe edition, which is $59.99. There is the Lumiere edition, which is $69.99. And then lastly, there is the collector's edition, which is $149.99. Now, I do have a video on all of the details. So if you want to learn more about what each of those editions actually involves, be sure to go and check this video out. I just posted that not too long ago, but I think it's fair to say that the safe bet is probably the standard edition or the digital deluxe edition, or if you are interested in a physical edition that comes with a steelbook, then the Lumiere edition is also a pretty good shout as well. Now, lastly, just to quickly touch on the developers behind this game, the game is made by Sandfall Interactive, who are a new team based out of Montpellier in France. Now, this is actually their debut title, so it's the first game they have ever launched, and I know that sounds insane, because when you're watching this gameplay, at least to me personally, this shit looks like it's a freaking AAA game made by some huge studio that is really well known. But no, this is a completely new studio that only formed in 2020, and this is what they've been working on since then. They are completely independent, so they're not owned by some big, massive corporation, and apparently there are only 30 or so developers on this team, which is absolutely mental. Like I said, watching this gameplay, it genuinely looks as higher quality as really any game that I've seen, and the fact that pretty much 30 people have made this with probably less resources than those companies, like I said, who have parent companies and have pretty much unlimited money. It is just crazy to think that that team has put this game together. So it is fair to say that even if it's not the best game ever, even if it's like a 7 out of 10, but it just looks this good, I genuinely think that is still so impressive. And I am so keen to get stuck in there and play this to just see how these devs have cooked this up. Because like I said, it's pretty crazy that a team that small and that new have put this game together. But that is pretty much it for everything you need to know when it comes to Clair Obscur Expedition 33. If you want more in-depth stuff on all of these different topics that I touched on throughout the video, then be sure to go and check out all of my other content. I've got about 5 or 6 other videos going a little bit more in depth on each of these areas. And like I said, if you are new here, be sure to subscribe. There is plenty more content on the way after launch, so make sure you don't miss out. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.